Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. In today's video I'm going to be restarting a former series or former mini series that I had a while back, maybe 18 months ago, called Diary of a Coin Dealer. I stopped putting those videos out because I stopped enjoying making YouTube, but I feel like I finally got my mojo back, and I feel like it's the type of content that is not only beneficial for me, I feel that my viewership will get something out of it, and if they do, then great. I understand it's not going to be for everyone. It really isn't. It's probably going to get 200 to 300 views per video. It's going to be the lowest in terms of um, people who watch me. People just like a bit of gold coin porn, and that's okay. That's completely fine. But I feel it will keep me interested because I can hold myself to a certain standard. Now, in terms of what I'm going to talk about during this series, so I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly pretty much. There's going to be times where I tell you about trades. There's going to be times where I tell you about my failures. There's going to be times where someone has annoyed me so much that I'm just going to say about how I wanted to swear at him and kick him in the face. That happens. But it's important to document it because I feel like over the years I've become more chill because I'm more understanding of everything. I've got more experience. I'm more skilled in the way that I trade. And there are going to be people that push your buttons. 99% of the time, I want to help you out. I really do. It's just my natural disposition to want to help people. I've always been that way. I've always been misunderstood by being that way. I think I was at uni. Some people tried taking advantage of it, and in the end, I just drew a line in the sand. I was like, "I'll help you if you need help. I have no problem with that. Just buy me a coffee or a beer, but don't take don't take the biscuit because you know my time is valuable, and it's the same in the coin business. If I'm helping you, but you're coming to me, I want you to value this, 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 and this, and I send you somewhere, and you come back and you're like, well, I need value for this. I will gradually just remove myself from that situation. It's not because I don't want to help you, but it's because I don't have the time to do it, and that's okay. So let's talk about my week. What has happened? Crazy, crazy week. The months of January and February, they're usually very difficult for me. They are probably, apart from July, they're probably the most difficult months of the year. July, everyone tends to be on holiday. I remember one year during, I think it was the World Cup, and I owed someone money and I couldn't pay him because everyone was drunk. Happens, but majority of my clients are male. Majority of them were watching the football. Didn't happen. But usually January and February, I kind of worry. So I set myself a rolling target. In my head, I work from January to December. That's how my targets work. That's when I started keeping records. So to go through the individual finances, I don't work it in my head like a traditional business in the sense that you have an end figure at the end of the year. I work out the profit on absolutely everything. It's the hard way of doing it. It's probably put me in good stead because I'm on the margin scheme now. But I like doing it that way because it gives me an overall view and it allows me to master my craft. Now, if you don't know what's good for profit and what's bad for profit, you're not going to do very well in anything. Not business related. You've really got to drill down to the numbers. As I say, the devil was in the detail. So January and February are usually very, very difficult. Last month, I just got there. I think I did it with about 20 quid to spare. Like I said, my targets are lower, but I've set myself a challenging but realistic target of £3,600 a month. Last month I hit it. So I want to average that over the year. For those of you who are very good at math in their head, I'm using a calculator because my mind's a bit all over the place. So 3,600 times 12. So I'm aiming for 43 too. I've then got other business interests and I've got some stocks and shares that pay me dividends and I've got YouTube income. So overall, I'm aiming to make 50 to 60 for the year. That doesn't mean I spend it. I spend nowhere near that. If anything, I spend the same amount of money I did as when I was earning 20k. Everything I do gets reinvested for the future. Now, that might come into the fore later on YouTube. I might share more into that. There is a reason why I've heavily been investing. I might not. I haven't decided because I don't know if it's going to be another business or if it's going to be personally where I just plow it into a house. I'm undecided. So that's a story for another day. But they're my targets. In terms of February, so what's happened was I rolled into February and I was like, I've got a bit of cash flow here. I've taken out £10,000 to pay myself as a dividend. I've got 2 months to pay myself another £22,000 as a dividend to maximise essentially my tax threshold as an individual. And then 355 ounces of silver came in, and I was like, okay, now we're talking. I was like, so I'm usually worrying. I'm usually worrying for February. And then I get another message from a gentleman that I've dealt with in the past, and he says, I've got like 72 1 gram bars. I think it's 18 sovereigns, some 10th ounce coins, etc., etc. Do you want them? And I'm just thinking, I might do all right here. Usually, I'm absolutely terrified that February is going to be a month that drags me down because of the way I work my finances and I use that rolling average. It's not good. So if I miss it, and I have missed it in the past in February, I'm like, But then I got messaged by another gentleman. I've got 10 ounces. Do you want them? And I'm thinking, I don't have the money for them. Another gentleman, I've got an ounce. I've got an auction coming up. I've got my regular supply line. And now I'm looking at it and thinking, I've got coins coming back for grading for February. So I'm now looking at my month thinking, I'm slapping 1400 on my target. I'm aiming for £5,000 this month. Is it doable? I think it is. I think that is a realistic target. It doesn't mean I'm going to do it. I've had months in the past where you give it your all and you start off really well. So first 10 days, you make £2,000. First 10 days. And then you're like, let's go. Let's have a scrap. Let's put your fists up and see what comes at you. But you get to the end of the month, it's like 3,000 at the end of the month. And that's good money. That is good money. I don't want people to think that I'm ungrateful in the sense that I'm doing well. It's hard work. You've always got to be on it. But I take the risk, so I take the reward. And that's fundamentally how you want a society to work, within reason. Now, in terms of hitting my target, that will all depend on the auction I have. I'm going there with a war chest. So I recently went to my bank. I had a credit card with my bank. I had an overdraft. And I said, well, if I cancel my credit card, can I extend my overdraft? And they were like, yeah, of course. So my overdraft is now sitting at, I think it's 15.8 or something like that. I think I said to someone it was 17. It wasn't. I got it in my head. I was convinced in my head it was like 16.8, but I think it's 15.8. So now stock comes in. I don't have to worry about that cash flow. I've been so stressed about cash flow for as long as I can remember. We're probably talking 5 years. And you can probably see and understand why I'm a chronic investor and a chronic saver, because I know that there's going to be a storm around the corner. And I think this year is going to be brutal. So I've got a lower target. And one of the reasons I got a lower target was, A, to protect my health, both mentally and physically. I've been working on that side of things as well. And B, because I'm worried about where the economy will be. Now, it's great if it's constantly coming in like now, but if we get to a recession, and I'm buying it, and there's no people to buy it from me, what I'm doing is gonna get less. I'm gonna make less money, and that's okay. That's the risk and reward side of being an entrepreneur, running a business. So there's going to be months where you can do well and above what an average person can do doing a job. And there's going to be months where you do under. And that's just the way it is. Anyway, I'm going to sign that off for the first episode. I hope people like the series. I really do. I think it's important to put out. Maybe it's just a bit of a rant, a bit of a ramble, but I think if it's a series I can grow and it can build up a good following, it certainly beats just showing sovereigns every week. I would rather cheese grate my face than put out sovereign videos every week, because I've seen so many of them and it doesn't really add value to anyone to do it. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next Monday for this style of content. I do have some videos for stock obviously coming up. and hopefully that will be put out either tomorrow or the day after. Take care, guys. Bye.